Imagine you've stopped on a stretch of road that barely even has a name. No signs, no lights, just asphalt cutting through the rain, so dark forests and mountains. Northern Scandinavia, where distances stretch and the silence does the talking. The engine ticks as it cools. Wind moves through the trees like it's been here longer than anyone ever will. No reception, no audience, just you, the truck, and whatever thoughts finally caught up. This is the kind of road that doesn't rush you, doesn't care who you are or where you're going. It just asks one thing, that you keep moving or you'll disappear here. Out here, the world feels stripped down. No noise, no promises, no distractions, just direction. Even the clouds support it for a moment. And as you stare into the abyss of space, you are reminded that you're not a brief arrangement of atoms experiencing the universe. You are the universe, briefly arranged into a form that can experience itself. And on that dark stretch of road, you and me are about to experience the next few moments in these Truck Sim Diaries. And in this video series, I record my Euro Truck Simulator 2 gameplay, and I use it as a backdrop for my unscripted thoughts on what's going on in my life and the world around me. Sometimes I will have a lot to say, sometimes I will just comment on the gameplay, and sometimes I'll just be quiet. Either way, I'm glad you're here. So let's take a last look at the sky before it all gets covered by clouds again. And let's hop into the truck and get going. And we are on our way to Andenes, Norway, to deliver 16 tons of caviar. We got 489 kilometers left to go. We just had our rest and it's 3 in the morning. And we are doing an event called Cruising Nordic Horizons. And before we do anything, let's recap our progression in these Truck Sim Diaries. If you don't know what this is, it's an event that we're running based on the World of Trucks community event, where we're going to do a delivery to or from all of the cities in the latest DLC release in Nordic Horizons. Last delivery was to Kukkula, Finland, and from there we went to Vasa to pick up cargo that we're going to drop off in Andenes. We are rested. We are ready.
Time to get the job done.
It's time to get the job done. And I guess that's what all we had for a rain-free. A brief couple of moments. And then it comes again. It is never ending. Like I said, we're playing the new expansion for Euro Truck Simulator 2. It's called Nordic Horizons, and it is Northern Sweden, Finland, and Norway. And I have set the daylight hours to real time. I'm in the middle of December, and so is the game, which means that when we're this far up north, the daylight is barely non-existent. And it has been raining for weeks. It's been raining for months. And it's really taken a toll on the everyday life of everyone around me, including myself, of course. Though I think I'm actually one of the people who are a little bit better off. I've done some preparations for this winter, mental preparations, that is, because normally I get hit with seasonal depression, and you know, I'm not saying it's not going to hit. Just I've been doing a lot better than I normally am. I'm not sure what it is. It's a combination of spending a lot of time outdoors, even though it's gloomy and bad weather, because nature, well, it has its way to, you know, make you feel better. Now, you might think that having no daylight is the worst way to experience a new DLC, and you might, you know, you might be onto something. But I figured I'd give you the real experience of what it's like with life up here. I don't live this far up north in Sweden. I live in the middle of the country, but our daylight hours are few, and they're very far between, especially when we're dealing with this kind of cloud cover that we have been having for the last months. It's literally 2 months of pretty much non-stop raining. Pull in for a vehicle inspection. I guess we need to do it here on the left. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work. Stop control. So let's find out together.
Okay, let's find a new route.
It looks like it should be somewhere around here. Maybe we'll stop. This trucks go ahead. Well, I can't really see anything, but oh, here it is. To pass the inspection. All right. Oh, there we go. We're at 35 tons in total. That's 16 tons of cargo. And the rest of it is just me and this truck. And today was, I just got back from the winter figure skating show that my daughter has. It's the end of her figure skating semester. So I was propped up on the bleachers looking at, you know, all the kids showing off their skills, and man, it is just, I keep getting surprised. Like, I'm like, shit, I'm a parent, you know? I mean, I know I'm a parent, but like I'm doing, my kid is out there doing, you know, she's been going at this for years, and you know, the practice is slow. Like, it's really hard. And I got some deep respect for figure skaters because it's not something you just do. Like, these kids, they work really hard for this. And they make these themes to the, it was Christmas themed, and then they have another show that's spring, which has a little bit, you know, Christmas is always Christmas. I mean, they're creative for sure to, you know, think of new things, but Christmas is always Christmas. Like, if you're gonna do something with a Christmas theme, you're pretty, I mean, you're a little bit locked in on what you can and can't do. But it's nice. She was dressed as a gingerbread cookie. Well, she had a dress with like brown and frosting and stuff like that. That was really cute. And we got back, made some lunch, and everyone just kind of scattered on their own. you know, on their own thing. So I got a couple minutes of playtime, and I figured I'd at least finish this delivery. It is not very far to go. We got 400 kilometers left, and the timer says 20 minutes of real-world driving. I think that's pretty long. So I think, like looking at the GPS here, yeah, you can see you can see what kind of roads we have ahead of us. It is probably going to take a little while, but you know, if we just go slow, we're going to be just fine. It's a good thing we got good visibility, right? And even though, like, it's depressing with rain and darkness, when you get to the liminal space, which is driving, I've talked about this at some point. Like, there is something about driving that soothes me. I get really calm when I do it. I love doing it. Not maybe, I mean, I don't maybe not always appreciate it. But going for a long, you know, in the day-to-day life, but going for a long drive, this is liminal space where you've left where you are, but you have not yet gotten to where you're going. So you're in this, you're in between the dimensions, you know what I mean? And a dark road like this with rain hitting the windshield and the windshield wipers just going back and forth. It's, yeah, it's really nice. I really enjoy it. Even though I don't really get to see anything of the of this new DLC like I talked about, but yeah, we'll get to it. We're gonna see everything. I keep thinking about Euro Truck Simulator when I'm driving. In real life, it's very, very much this. It's what it's been like. I keep talking about, but it's really. Normally we have snow. Like I said, we're in the middle of December. Normally we have snow. Not always. But rarely do we ever have this much downpour. So it's I think it's going to go down, you know, in the history books. Of this, we're going to talk about this, you know, unless this is the new normal, of course, which I don't really hope. We're going to be talking about this as like that Christmas and that December where it was just raining so badly for so long. And as you can tell, the road markings are yellow, so we are in Norway. Sweden has got, you know, the lines in the middle of the road. Sweden has got white lines. I don't know why Norway has yellow. And I've only been to Norway, I want to say twice. I've been on a business trip, like I talked about last episode, when I was working as a photographer. But besides that, I've only been there once, but I did drive there. I went to the southern parts of Norway. And it's pretty interesting how Norway is so very, very, like the nature in Norway is so very, very different from nature in Sweden. Sweden is, I mean, we got mountainous areas that go on forever, but Norway's got these dramatic cliffs and fjords and stuff that we don't have. We don't have a single fjord in Sweden, and they have all of them. So it's a really interesting set of mountains that they have going on. But as far as personal anecdotes about driving in northern Norway, I got nothing. So it's as new to me as it is to you. I really want to go though, but I think that Sweden's nature is a little more accessible for the everyday person. I mean, you can, from what I gather, you can see a lot of Norway, like from the road, but you can't, go everywhere because that'd be too intense of a climb, I suppose. I'm not sure though. Maybe that's just what we see from all the pictures. On the sign it says Lofoten. That is one of the places that I really want to go to. Go hiking in Lofoten.
Exit now.
That'd be really something. Well, you can tell from these roads we're getting, these rocks, and it's getting steep. I wonder what kind of diesel mileage we're gonna get from this trip. We're not too heavy, but it's a lot of climbing for sure. I can feel that I'm a little nervous about what I'm going to talk about because I wasn't really prepared for this. And I watched a game show where one of the reason why I get nervous is because I get self-conscious. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta think of something to say, And my mind just goes racing, and that's not gonna work, obviously. I was watching this game show, and one of the contestants, she was a Broadway actress. And she was talking about how they have this magic door. She had this exact thing when she was coming, on the air. And apparently, Broadway actresses or actors have this thing that they call a magic door. That when they step through that door, every part of their self-consciousness, their self-doubt, self-hate, self-awareness.
Please mind the speed.
Shit, this is gonna be a speeding ticket intense delivery for sure. I think I'm up to 3 by now, and it's all in the same kind of instances where I drive through. And this is very common in Sweden, where you go along these roads that are like 80 or 90 kilometers per hour speed limit, and then suddenly a little town hits you, or a little village that's just a couple houses. And it's like 50 going past those houses. You gotta really be on your toes as the speed limit changes. So anyway, the magic door. You step through this door and you just let everything of that wash away, and you're all showtime. And I guess that's what I need to practice on going forward when I get into this situation. Normally, I get self-aware when someone's home when I'm recording. I still haven't done that enough to have it be natural. I try, but I keep avoiding recording when my family's home, just because yeah, maybe it's best if the police car just overtakes us and keep going. I'm embarrassed, recording. I am proud of this, of everything I've done here. I'm really proud of every episode I see. I don't, mind if people that I know. At first, I thought I would be embarrassed if someone I know would, find this. But I'm really not. I'm more proud than anything, because I'm proud of everything I say. I'm proud of the editing. I'm proud of the, the whole production side of it. But it's just that when it comes to recording it, I get really self-aware, and I need to, I guess, get into the point where I've gotten now that I just, start talking about something and I get into the flow of talking. But it's really hard to do it, on demand. And if you're quickly going to think of something to say, you really can't. But then again, logically, I don't feel any pressure to have anything to say, because I know you as much as I enjoy even the quiet moments of this show. Because if you wanted, hot takes, edgy things, catered for a
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
catered for a short attention span, then you would be in the wrong
Exit
place.
now.
Because that's just not how I do it. It's not how this works, but you know this by now, and you probably wouldn't have clicked this video if that was your thing, when you can see the length of it. Alright, it's 9 in the morning, and it looks like it's getting a little bit brighter. I think we are above the Arctic Circle, so the sun might not rise at all for these deliveries. So this is about as much of this expansion that you're gonna see for now. Sorry, but it's only for I think it's only for last weeks of December, first week or so of January. It's not, it's not 6 months of total darkness, but it is a couple of weeks of total darkness that these poor people have to endure. And we keep going back and forth between this is a great place to live. Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And everyone is happy about the seasons. That's one of the things that people say that they like so much about living here. We get to see all the seasons. And I agree, seasons are really nice. But no one is talking about how much they appreciate the seasons during January and February. Those are normally we're just quiet at that point, because everyone is just out of energy. It really gets to you. The darkness. Not so much the cold. The cold is not really a problem, because you quickly learn you quickly learn to cope with it and dress for it. Everyone is ready for that. My wife told me this story that one of her coworkers, so she works in life science, and that means that she works with she has a lot of colleagues that are not from Sweden, because it's pretty normal for oh shit, I have my blinker on. It's pretty normal for people to come from other countries to study here, because we have pretty much free education. So people can come from other countries and get their university degrees for a lot less money than would they do it in their own country. I think. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so like, she told me the story once of one of her colleagues, or maybe it was a guy studying here, or I don't really remember the details, but his mother got worried about the cold. And I think they were from like Portugal or something like that. And this guy's mother was worried that her baby boy wouldn't like it, wouldn't you know, wear enough clothes for the Arctic cold that's gonna hit him here in Sweden. So she went and bought him a jacket, and my wife told me that the mother, she was looking at the cold rating of the jacket, and I was like, jackets have cold ratings? Because when you live here, you know what jackets are good for the winter and which jackets aren't. And you don't know that by looking at some kind of thermal rating or anything like that. You just know by touching it that like this one is, you know, this one is going to be enough, and this one is. But I thought that was pretty funny to be like, they don't have cold. So they don't know, you know, how to buy cold weather gear. And we have, you know, everyone has, you know, 2 wardrobes. One is for fall, winter, and one is for spring, summer, because it's completely different, you know, levels of clothing. And it's mostly winter gear, is mostly like winter boots and then some kind of puffy jacket. That's normally, and a hat and some mittens or gloves or whatever. That's kind of your standard Swedish, Norwegian, and Finnish person's winter gear. Now, if we are doing long-term winter expedition stuff, of course we're gonna wear, you know, wool undergarments and, you know, padded pants and stuff like that. But that's not, you know, that's not what people wear for the day-to-day. Instead, they choose to just have a big jacket, a hat, and some mittens, and some big boots. That's gonna get you through the day-to-day. You might be a little cold if you're standing for a long time waiting for the bus and stuff like that, but it's not, you know, we're not in Arctic survival mode where we, you know, go dog sleighing to work. It's not like that at all. It's just, you know, it turns into this everyday thing where it's not, you know, it's just a part of life up here. But after Christmas, you know, everyone loves the winter during the December. The kids go sleighing, you know. You're all cozied up inside. But then after New Year's Eve, everyone is honestly, everyone is pretty done with winter, and then you have maybe 3 months of it left, and then it's not, you know, it's not very fun anymore. So look at these speed limit signs. Now it says 60 here. So we went from 80 to 60. And this is the thing that I've thought was pretty confusing about driving in Norway, because we went from 80 to 60, right? Alright, so we're at 60 now, and we're going to keep it at 60, and now 50 hits us. Still keeping it at 50 because we're going through this town. Speed limits are no joke. And we're gonna abide to them so we don't attract any more speeding tickets, because I already have way too many of those. Alright, we're back to 60. Still 60. And here it comes. Now it's not 60 anymore. What the fuck? How am I supposed to remember that it was 80? Couldn't it just say 80? Because now we're back to 80. But since it was 80, it switched to 60, and then 50, and then 60 again, and then it was 60 with a slash to it, which means the speed is no longer limited to 60. And then you're supposed to remember what it was like, what speed limit it was before that. I always find that, I shouldn't say always, I've only driven in Norway once, but I'm like, you know, how am I supposed to remember that? I always thought that was a little mean. I don't know, am I wrong? I remember going into Oslo, there is this very long tunnel that goes down. And it was like 80 or 90 or whatever. Now it's 60 again. The speed limit is 60. Speed limit's 60. Alright. We still haven't seen an 80 sign in a while. We've only seen the 60 signs. And then when we leave, it's gonna be 60 with a slash through it, meaning not 60 anymore. So going into Oslo, there is a pretty steep tunnel.
Go straight up.
So if I let my car if I put it in neutral, the car would just, by gravity, roll faster than the speed limit. And then at the end of the tunnel, it was that speed limit no longer. And I'm like, I hadn't figured this out, because Oslo is pretty close to, when you get out of Sweden, you get into Oslo pretty fast. So I was like, and yeah, maybe I should have stopped and like read a manual on how the fucking speed limits work in Norway, but you know, of course I didn't, because you know, who does that? And I remember being like, my car wants to go faster, but the speed limit is just no longer. And then right after that, there is a speeding camera. So I was like, man, I don't trust anyone here. But I was fine. I didn't get a speeding ticket, but I was crawling past that speed
Go
camera.
straight up.
All right, we are in Andenes. This is a great looking town. It is noon. No, it's 1 o'clock. And yeah, this is daylight. This is as bright as it's gonna be. Are you happy yet? These kind of houses that we see here, they are very common for northern Sweden as well. And then every now and then, they did this really good. every now and then you get this modern, you know, stylish design, minimalistic, newly built, you know, building. But most of them are these nondescript, simple wooden buildings, 2 stories, not much to it.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Ninja bar? Man, I want to go to Ninja bar.
Go straight on.
Imagine us getting to March or end of February, when the daylight hours start getting a little longer, and I'm going to be like, oh man, look at this. Wow, this was a great expansion, and everyone has already moved on, but I'm going to miss most of it because I'm just going to be driving in the dark. But, you know, I'm trying to keep it authentic here. I'm trying to give you a insight of what it's like for the everyday person living in these remote areas, which is Sweden, Norway, and Finland. As you've seen kind of in the darkness way out there, you can see we're driving past a lot of caravans, mobile homes. That is extremely popular because one of the most common thing you do when you reach pension in Sweden and Norway, and I assume Finland, is you get one of those caravans, and you go caravanning in Norway. However, we're dealing with a modded playthrough here, and at this time of year you will not see that many caravans because no one fucking comes here to spend time in the dark. You can just go into your bedroom and turn off the lights. You don't have to go all the way here. Delivery should be somewhere. Guess we'll drive around, see if we can find it. Barely make it out. I need to go a little bit more forward here. So if I don't hit any rocks. Alright, here we go. All right. That's it. All right, let's take a look at the Cruising Nordic Horizons event status screen. We are checking off Andenes. Now, what I want to do from here is go to Narvik in any way possible. Hopefully, we can find a job that takes us to Narvik. If not, then I think we're just gonna go there from here, because when we take the job from Narvik, we will get one reward, which is a little wolf plushie that we can keep in the cab of our truck. All right, let's take a look at some stats for the job. And I've been a little nervous over this one because I know that there's going to be so many fines. 1,106 kilometers, 33.3 liters per 100. That's not very good, but we were dealing with a lot of hills coming in, so we're just going to have to take it. No damage for 1 hour and 24 minutes of driving from Vasa Polaris lines to Andenes Arena Logistik. The Scania S is up to 256,678 kilometers, 16 tons of caviar. Planned was 1,248, real was 1,106, and we actually went shorter than planned, and that was because we took the ferry instead of driving up western Finland. Transport, fine. Tollgate, fine. So this was speeding, and speeding. Because I am I'm a speed demon, I suppose. It's a pretty good paying job at 25,403 credits. 3,810 for taxes. 2,244 for other costs, which includes the fine. So this was not good. Fuel cost was 718. Revenue, 18,630 credits. 4 out of 5 stars. 5 out of 5 for damage, 4 out of 5 for distance, 4 out of 5 for fines, because there was some. 5 out of 5 for fuel economy. 2 out of 5 for mass. 420 hardcore points. And looking at the jobs for Andenes, it says that there are no jobs matching our cargo filters and current skills. So I guess we don't have much of a choice other than doing a dry run from Andenes, where we are now, down to Narvik. And I just got a lump in my chest thinking about what happens if we get to Narvik and there are no jobs available. I guess it's just a risk we're going to have to take. sit for daylight. And the worst part about this, I keep talking about this weather situation, it's just crazy. Worst part all this time has been that the weather forecast has been correct all the time, because you can look like 2 weeks forward and it's just rain and clouds and rain, and it just keeps going. It's fucking rough, man. I gotta tell you. Well, we also need to sleep. We got 3 hours until we need to sleep of in-game time. But I think there's a place a bit up the road here. You can see it there marked on the map. That's where we're gonna sleep. some rest. We went to sleep at 3. We wake up at 7:30. There is no way to tell a difference here. We just got this darkness. Let's get the rest of our sleep. It is midnight. It is time to go. We got 19 minutes to go to Narvik, and this episode is probably just going to be a maintenance episode of taking us to Andenes, dropping off the cargo, and then going to Narvik. We'll see how much playtime I'm rewarded with. But on our way, let's do some questions. And I have questions. And I have a question from Cap. And Cap's question is, he was driving through Northern Horizons now, and he got into a situation which brought another ETS question. What's your opinion on trailer doubles? And with mods, triples, quarters, up to Australian truck train lines. Do you ever drive any in your truck simulator? If yes, how did you enjoy the experience? And with Cap, so we have a single semi-trailer connected to this truck. With a trailer, it's just this one big box. And what Cap is referring to is trailer doubles, where there are two boxes that are separated by a dolly or a joint in some way. So you know how there's a pivot point between the truck and the trailer on this semi-trailer? If you have a trailer double, you will also have a pivot point in the middle, kind of the double trailer, which means that you can carry a lot more cargo, but it also means that it's a lot harder to reverse with that thing, because you need to take that into account. You're going to see me try to do it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Those aren't legal everywhere in Europe, so that's why we've mostly been staying with this single semi-trailer, because this truck-trailer combination is legal in all countries, so we don't have to think about it much. Plus, this is the kind of truck combination that honestly that I like the most. I think it looks the coolest. It's what a truck's always look like in my mind's eye. And ever since I was a kid, these kind of tractor trailers, which this semi-trailer pulling truck is, I've always thought that they were so cool, you know. But I have tried them, like in my early days of Euro Truck Simulator. I tried them. It was, I didn't get into the theoreticals of how to reverse one of those things. I was basically just driving it around and just going forward. It's not, it's not anything, out of the ordinary to drive something like that. But I don't think that they look as cool. And honestly, before I started playing Euro Truck Simulator, I hadn't been paying attention to them, because rarely do I see them. I see them every now and then. I'd say, day to day, when I'm looking at the trucks I see on the road, maybe 1 in 10 or 15 is a trailer double combination. I actually saw a guy, I was working at a pharmaceutical company outside in their kind of on the front of the building, and I saw them receiving a delivery from a trailer double, and it was very, very narrow to get to their offloading ramp. So I was really looking forward to seeing how the truck driver would go about delivering such a complex trailer to such a difficult location. But all he did was pull up, disconnect one piece of the trailer from the other, deliver the first part, then connect the back part, deliver that part. And then he hooked them both back up and took off. So it was even simpler. There was just a regular semi-trailer. So there's that. But I thought it was kind of cool.
Caution. Please mind the speed.
Do not want any speeding tickets. Not that they were on a job or anything, but...
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Alright, let's take a look at some more questions. We have from the subreddit Ask Reddit. What time do you go to bed and why? I go to bed at 9:30. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Even though I'm off at Saturday. I want to be in bed early because I love waking up early. Now, Saturdays are date night. And I'm not going to torture myself. Like date night, me and my wife kind of dress nice. Make some nice dinner, have a couple drinks together. And on Sundays I sleep in, but I don't sleep very long into the morning. I'm usually up at 7 when I'm up late. But yeah, I don't know. I like going to bed early because I like waking up early. That's just kind of how I, crystallize my sleeping patterns, I guess. And I try not to stay up. I didn't. This is pretty new for me to have a tight, regular sleep schedule. I didn't focus on getting to bed early throughout most of my life. I used to sit up. I knew that I needed to go to bed. Like I'm at, on a work day, I'm up at 5:30. That's pretty early. So I knew that I needed, to get my sleep. But I didn't really respect how much I really needed it. But when I did start, listening to what my body needs, going to bed on time, just made a huge difference for me. And even though I want to stay up late, I would love it if I could go to bed at 11 or midnight and still feel okay, but I really, really can't. Everything is just going to be ruined for me. I think that's one of the... We got another vehicle inspections. This is a different location than last time.
At the roundabout, take the second exit.
Yeah. I think that may be one of the bigger reasons why this winter is not as hard for me as the winter normally is, because normally I escape into gaming. And just let that take over my entire life.
Go straight on.
Which is not good. And I stay up way too late just to not have to deal with the realities of life. So instead I started dealing with the realities of life. And it has made me a better person, and I feel a whole lot better. Let's see if we can pass this inspection too. 19 tons. That's how much we weigh with just me, the truck. Low fuel tank of gas. We need to do something about that. Let's get some fuel in here. What will we have for breakfast? Protein bar, chips, water, a backpack. And I don't know. What a lifestyle, you know? Having to eat coyote and raw. Sure, it tastes okay, but... we probably keep enough food in the truck to last us for a while. We got 13 more minutes to go, and then we'll see if there is a job for us or not when we get to Narvik. This might be a huge mistake. But you know, no one remembers a coward.
Turn left.
All right, let's get another question. And this is a question that I have been. Shit! I need to take off my sweater. Hold on. Alright, that's much better. And this is a question I've been debating on whether or not I should... Oh shit, he was waiting for me. Debating on whether or not I should answer on the show.
At the roundabout.
Because it's a little difficult. The question is from the subreddit Ask Men. And the question is, when was the last time you cried? Now, I don't cry a lot. I am not, you know, I don't mind it. Like, I don't think it's, I don't know, it's not a sign of weakness or anything. I just don't do it very often because thankfully, I never get to a point where I feel that I'm gonna cry, but I did the other day. In my work car, all by myself, because I was talking to my mother, just having a normal conversation, and my relationship with my mother is not something simple. We have a relationship now that works if we exchange normal pleasantries, but since we have such a complex history together, I can't really tolerate anything other than that. I mean, the role my mother fills in my life is for us to have small talk about the kids, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So we just talk about basic stuff because, well, reasons. Except one day last week we didn't. And the reason why I don't want to talk to my mother about difficult subjects is because she turns pretty mean. She turns pretty toxic. Like, it's always there, just beneath the surface. That, you know, that woman never changes. She can hide it, but she can't change. And oh shit! Now that it's raining, it's very slippery, and since I don't have any weight on this truck, My wheel's struggling to get grip. Anyway, I don't know where in the story to begin. So I will give you a brief background.
Caution. Please watch the speed. Caution. Please mind the speed.
I was born in Umeå, and my mother and father lived together with me and my sister. And I don't know why those two thought it was going to be a good idea to get kids. They probably did it because they felt that they had to, but honestly, neither of them are really very fit to be a parent. My father is a narcissistic alcoholic, and my mother was 2 steps behind him. So there was a lot of fighting, and there was a lot of toxic fighting. And when my mother and father, both of them, when they have an argument, the way they do it is by hurting the person that they're arguing with as much as possible so that they will stop arguing. And it works really well because you're fucking destroyed, because they can be extremely hurtful, both of them. My father is since out of the picture. He is suffering from alcohol-induced dementia. He almost died. But my sister saved him because she has this feeling of responsibility to my parents, which I don't. Now, in 1996, my parents got divorced. We had then moved to Uppsala, and they split me and my sister up. I think it's because neither of them wanted kids, so they decided to take one each. So I lived with my alcoholic, narcissistic father, and my sister lived with my mother, which is fucking weird. We just lived a 4-minute walk from each other, but my dad, he took off on business trips after business trip, chasing money and women, and I was left alone when I was about 12. And ever since, I've been going through life alone with no support whatsoever. And you know, every now and then my mother and father have tried to sugarcoat it with words like, we knew that you were going to be just fine, but that's fucking bullshit because no 12-year-old is fine being left alone. And I wasn't. I was in a lot of trouble. And I could have died so many ways, which I didn't, out of pure luck and kindness from other adults throughout my life. Great teachers, or not great teachers, but teachers in school, you know, other adults around you. And whenever touchy subjects come up, like I said, I think that my parents know that they did wrong by me, and but they will not take responsibility for their actions. So they will blame the world. They will blame anything they can to not have to take responsibility themselves. Now, what happened when I talked to my mother? The thing is that when my sister went to look after my alcoholic father, she found him, you know, in a bad space. I think his body temperature was like 34 or something, 33. He was dying, being drunk. And she took care of it, and she has been taking care of making sure that he gets out of his apartment, gets into a care home or whatever. My perspective is that you know, since this man was my father and responsible for me, and he didn't take that responsibility, instead he left me, I feel that I owe it to the 8-year-old me to not help this man. I have been through therapy over this. I am over it, but I will not help him because he did not help me. It's as simple as that. But my sister, on the other hand, she feels a lot of responsibility over this. She feels like she owes him because he is my father. And a lot of people think like this, but I don't. I feel that he owed me because he was my father. He owed me better than what he provided. He was the only one who could help me, and he didn't. He just left. And, you know, but I respect my sister's way of thinking. However, I won't, you know, I won't help her help him. And I know that this frustrates her. We didn't grow up together, her and me, so we don't really talk, you know. And she has since cut me off. And again, we didn't grow up together. We barely know each other. She's a stranger to me, pretty much. So, you know, it is what it is. It's not something I lose sleep over. I respect her way of thinking. She does not respect my way of thinking. And, you know, that's pretty much where we are. But she doesn't communicate this. She just won't reply to any texts and anything like that. She doesn't live very far from where I live, which makes it all very weird because my kids are like, why are we not seeing our cousins? And I'm like, I don't know. You know, I don't really have an answer yet. I don't lie to my kids, and I will tell them. I just think that they're a little too young to understand. But I might be wrong. Anyway, the mistake I made was to talk about this with my mother. And we got into a conversation about it. And she refuses to, you know, she refuses to listen. She refuses to see perspective. She turned mean towards me. And I know this of her. I know this. It was my mistake to bring it up because I know better than to bring it up because nothing good will ever come out of it. There is nothing to talk about. There is no way to move forward with this. And I don't feel a need to. It's not a knot in my stomach or anything. It's not like something that needs to be worked out. It just, I've already tried that. It does not work. Because the only way I can do that is if she would be receptive to it, and she is not. So she turns mean. She said mean things to me, and I'm not hurt by her mean things. I know, like, a narcissist being a narcissist does not hurt me. It's like being hurt by the wind or whatever. That's just how it works. But the reason I started crying in my car is because now that I have kids, I have realized how easy it is to love kids and to be there for them. I've always felt like I am this burden. I've always felt that I am a burden on this earth. I've always felt that I was a burden to my parents. I talked about this earlier here, that I feel like I should find a place to stow myself away and just stay there. I can find it very relaxing when I know that I'm not really making an imprint anywhere. And I know that this is from my childhood. And this is from my parents. You know, my sister was the loud one.
Please mind the speed.
So she got their attention, and they realized how they did not want that, so they made sure that I did not do whatever she did. Everyone made sure of this.
At the roundabout.
My sister made sure of this, my mother made sure of this, my father made sure of this, because my sister didn't want any competition for the attention, and my parents didn't want another child crying for attention. So they shut me up really good. And that is what made me don't know. After that, she just kept going on and on, you know, like she does. And I got so reminded of me being a kid, just sitting there and taking that shit. And I knew then, and I know now that there's nothing that I can say to like. Nothing good will come out of fighting back. And the best thing I can do is just not get into that kind of situation. And it's pretty easy to not get into that kind of situation with her. I just don't have to talk about it. I can talk about it a lot of other things. There's so much to talk about. That is just perfectly fine. We can have perfectly fine conversations. Because what I want from her is to be a grandmother for my kids. That's what I need her to do. And she wants that. My kids want that. I want that. She's not going to be around enough to hurt them. And if I just keep it at that level, it's fine. It's nice. You know, it's nice. It's okay. I would rather have that than not have it at all. I tried that with my father many years ago. And he could not deal with that. He just had to be toxic for no reason. He had to be mean for no reason. So I cut him off, and that was way before he decided to, you know, drink it all or whatever. And I got to thinking of that kid, you know, young little child me, just taking so much shit. And you know, it's made me a decently resilient person, for sure. But it had like every good, you know. Personality trait that I have earned from this, growing up like this. You know, alone and or with just toxic, mean parents. You know, it's hard-earned lessons that I wish I didn't have to have. And that's what made me so sad, because it wasn't until I got kids that I understood to the full extent what kind of transgression that is. You know, to make a little kid feel bad like that. And it made me cry in my car. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. I really, really do appreciate it. And take care of yourself, because you need to last for a long time. Bye.